Hey guys, Dabu 7, we got a situation here where the Trump administration is buying up mega warehouses across the country. This is no joke. To turn them into detention centers. They say that protests are popping up all over the place because people are ticked off about this idea and questions are being raised that are legitimate. How come nothing like this was talked about before? And how come all the illegals that have been shipped out of the country can't be shipped out the same way they've been being shipped out, which is immediately? Why, all of a sudden, do you want to hold them in this country en masse? The cost to acquire just 2 warehouses is $172 million. A third is going up in El Paso, Texas, and it could be among the largest jails of any kind that has ever been built when it's done. Right? These deals are going to put 23 warehouses up across the country to deal with alleged migrants. Okay? But people are saying, how is this possible? Because you're not holding them in mass anywhere else. You haven't done so this whole time. You've just been able to get them and take them out of the country, which was what was promised. It was never said that they were going to be housed and kept in a jail in this country. Okay? Now, some people that are small-minded and short-sighted and can't see that all the laws Trump is putting on the books will be flipped and turned against them down the road. That's exactly what all this could be set up for. And I can't help but think, when a real pandemic falls into place and they got strike teams already out there rounding people up, where are purebloods going to go? Where are anyone that doesn't want to get a forced inoculation going to go? We've warned you about this, and the police state is going up right in front of your face. R.I.P. Crowley. He saw this and envisioned it all and put it out there in Gray State, and they clipped him for it. And guess where it's all unraveling right now in front of your face? Minnesota, and the police state being rolled out right in front of your face. So you can call them detention centers and be small-minded and think they're for illegals. I'm telling you now. These are for anyone down the road that doesn't comply when the full, real lockdowns go into motion. And it's just crazy how so many people are again, short-sighted and have small memories that we just went through this whole beta test. It's like they forgot. And really, we're still in it. Because this whole thing of men rounding up migrants is staged to give them practice for rounding up everyone else. I hope you see it before it's too late. So, call them what you want, detention centers for migrants, and that's fine if they're going to house some there in the meantime. But doubt it. For those that see the bigger picture, it's game time, crunch time. This means that the event is really right around the corner. And of course, it's going to happen on Trump's watch. So, time's ticking. This is the latest. I'll leave a link. All this is legit. These warehouses are going up. And if you know of any protest or anyone that's countering these being bought or anything, let me know. Dabu7@yahoo.com. This in my book has nothing to do.
Who's the conspiracy theorist now? Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Rulewell. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. News in the gospel bride, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. This is from Dabu 7. It goes into how these internment camps, these concentration camps, are have been going up in America. Now, I remember last year, even I think what it was prior to Trump getting elected, he was talking about building these concentration camps like along the border to detain quote unquote migrants, which migrants or illegal aliens is another way of saying the Hebrew Israelites, whether they know they're Israelites or not. You know, what's spiritual about it all is that when you go into the scriptures refer to Israelite foreigners as being aliens. Okay, according to Ephesians, the 2nd chapter, it goes into those that were alienated from the commonwealth of Yahweh Shai. Okay, so that's a buzzword. But nonetheless, these concentration camps, hey, we've been warning y'all, man. And we told you, and we've been called conspiracy theorists. We've been called Alex Jones followers. We've been called all types of manners of wickedness, fear mongers, bums. But who's the bum now? Because this is really solidified evidence. This is evidence of these things. There's articles on this. Trump said it. I mean, you had Trump that mentioned it out of his own mouth. You know, they were writing papers about it. It says Trump administration begins buying mega warehouse detention centers across U.S. And what's so crazy, because when you go here, this is what Apostle Gabar always referring to. This is on Rumble, which I'm not going to play it, but it's called America Under Siege, which is a documentary that came out back in 1994. All right, if you brothers want to see it, I will try to link the description or the link to the video in the description box, and you brothers can click on it and watch it, because I don't think it's on YouTube no more. But we've been called conspiracy theorists. We've been called fear-mongers, conspiracy nuts, all this other madness by other Israelite groups, but it shows that the Lord is bringing what the men of the great millstone say to pass, because, you know, we fought in the line of the prophets, man. All right, so he said that he had articles and stuff on this, but regardless of it, if not, I was reading a comment on here, and it made a lot of sense, because we used to go into this real heavy. I know the apostles, for a fact, was going into this. It says back in 2012, or about then, there were already over 800 FEMA camps across the nation ready to go for whatever reason. The largest one was in Alaska, and they looked like Roach Motel that you could check in and out, but you don't check out. Used to be lots of videos about them. They have probably removed them a long time ago. Yeah, and they still have those active, okay? But the amount of people that's getting displaced, getting laid off, you know, a lot of people that's bucking up against the system, they're going to need more than 800 FEMA camps to house these people, because for one thing, they got another pandemic on the rise. Okay, I think it's called it's some type of virus out of India that they claim that it have like a 40 to 70% mortality rate, according to the three-letter word, the DCC, which you can't take anything they say too literal, because we know that that particular corporation, which is ran by the Tiny Tops, they're in the business of eliminating people, all right? And they're in the business of giving out information that's totally false. Okay, you're gonna trust a bunch of people that sold you a P. Dizzy back in 2020, and then you had over so many millions of Americans that died because they shot the three-pointer. These are the same people that's giving you these statistics, but nonetheless, they got the paradigm already laid for it, because they're talking about it's a small possibility that it can spread across the world, but they said that about the C19 too. You know, and there's other viruses that they've been experimenting with that they haven't been speaking on. What happened to the super flu that was just out maybe last month? What happened to that fungus-like virus that people was allegedly dying from? What happened to all this shit? But all of a sudden now you want to build up internment camps all throughout America, which you already have FEMA camps here. And not to mention the whole ICE shit. Economic instability, the list goes on. So they're getting ready to put people in these concentration camps, anybody that opposed a New World Order, and they're going to put the microchip in you. Okay, I speculate that once the system crash, I speculate that they're going to start putting people in there. Probably prior to then, up until then, because the whole thing of getting out of those places is if you take the mark of the beast, the chip. And there will be chipping centers in these FEMA camps, man. Okay, that's the whole point, to microchip everybody. Aaron Russo went into that. Another thing too, Dabu mentioned was this guy by the name of David Crowley. He was I think he was an insider. He used to be like a United States. I think he was like, I don't know if he was in the Navy or the Marines or the Army. But anyway, he had insight and found out the corruption that was going on among the government. And he was making a movie called Gray State, which shows you the FEMA camps, which shows you the Civil War. They showed you the RFID chip. They showed that America was being seized by their own government and foreign troops. And when he was getting ready to release the movie, all of a sudden he ends up dead, his wife and his daughter, because it was called The Gray State. And it looked like everything he was writing about was on point, because it's coming to pass. You know? So once again, who's the conspiracy nut now? And they know who it's, you know, they know who we're speaking about. The IE, you know, that guy Nathaniel 7, or Nate, call him Bishop Nate. He was talking all types of shit about us because we was talking about these concentration camps and the RFID chip. He called us a bunch of conspiracy nuts, but looks like the conspiracy nuts they were right again. So anyway, let's get a couple of precepts. And also, I want to look at this too. It says ICE to pivot warehouses, especially one here in Kansas City. They want to build one right out here. Matter of fact, I think they want to build two here because we got that FIFA Cup coming here this year. And they're trying to build up like some type of makeshift prison for anybody that allegedly get out of line doing these games, doing this World Cup. And then I believe out in Grandview, they want to build another ICE facility out there. And there's a place called Leavenworth, Kansas, that they want to build another facility out there, which is already I don't know if it's decommissioned, but they do have a prison out there, and they want to turn it into an ICE facility. Okay, so it says warehouses identified by ICE to convert into immigration detention centers. And immigration detention centers, that ain't gonna just be for them. It's gonna be for anybody that buck up against the system. Anybody that don't want to shoot the new J that's coming out, anybody that resists lockdowns and mandates and curfews, they're going to put you right in these concentration camps. The planned 9,500 beds in Hutchinson, Texas could fit the daily average jail population of all of Dallas County with thousands of beds to spare. It says Bloomberg reported the 23 sites depicted are part of the agency's warehouse plans. Sites could be changed or removed. So far, Minnesota, Utah, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, and Virginia, Indiana, Michigan. So, yeah, 23 facilities here. Not to mention the already 800 they already got. Black sites. All right, so let's see what the scriptures say, because, some brothers, certain brothers are going to have to go through this, man. I mean, the scriptures warn us about, the scriptures tells us about these things, that certain men of the Lord will have to be put in prison, like Joseph. He was in prison, but the Lord was with him. All right, matter of fact, I was looking at that earlier. Come on, man, what the fuck? There we go. But yeah, man, certain men in the Lord are going to have to go through this. And I just, part of it. It's part of the walk. Matter of fact, let's start here. Genesis 39. And I'm going to start at verses, this goes into, where she tried to seduce him when he ran, and then she lied on him. But it says, and it came to pass when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, after this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in prison. So men of the Lord, it wasn't uncommon for us to go to jail or get locked up for being a servant of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But in this case, it's because she lied. She wanted him and he didn't, because he understood, Yahweh Shem Yahushua didn't deal with adultery. He fled from sin and got him locked up. Like the scriptures say, he that departed from evil maketh himself a prey. So us speaking the word, and we're speaking on the fall of this kingdom and prophesying these particular events, they're going to come at the brothers, man. Because they already got us in the database. They got everybody that speak out against this system. So it's just a matter of time when this kingdom collapses, or when the grid goes down, or when the economy collapses, or however they want to do it, the next crisis, that's when they're going to start their roundups, which secretly they probably doing it now. All right, it was, I had it actually on a tab. I think I must have exited out of it, but it was by this guy by the name of, I think his name was David something. He died maybe back in 2019. He gave a final warning, but it was called Project Zypher. All right, you probably can find it on Rumble somewhere. I thought I had it in my tabs, but I guess I don't. But it's called Project Zypher. And basically it goes into, and he was exposing Trump. He was basically saying what Trump was going to do in his new administration. And it looked like it was on point. And he was going into how they was going to round people up in the middle of the night, and people was going to disappear that speak out against the small hat. And he was going into censoring and all this other shit. And 5-6 years later, where we at? And it reads, and it says, but the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. So, brothers have to go through certain aspects and getting thrown in jail. I mean, it's not a pleasant thing to be locked up. But, at the end of the day, it's a test of faith. And our fate, if we have to go down in these prisons, is not going to be half as bad as these wicked ass Jakes out here, these Israelites that was playing games with the Lord's word. See, what people don't understand is that when they start locking Jake up, they're going to torture Jake, man. Okay, they're going to break Jake up in there. They're going to do all manners of evil to Jake, graping, waterboarding, cutting lambs off. Watch that movie Hostel. It's a movie called Hostel when the elites basically paid to watch people get tortured in these brothels. They paid top dollar to watch people get jacked up, man. I'm talking about get ate from the inside out by rats. It's going to be bad. Starving you out, putting you in a hole, gunning you down, fire squad, gas chambers. Hey, the list goes on with this devil. And we warned you of these things, man. Certain brothers going to have to go through the guillotine. That's part of it because, hey, you can't take the RFID chip because, of course, they're going to try to bribe you and say, well, look, we can let you up out of here if you just take the mark of the beast. And they might not call it the mark of the beast, but we know it's called the mark of the beast. But they're going to say, look, this is your way out of here. If you want to get back to your family, get back to your job, get back to your apartment. Hey, look, the only thing you got to do is let us put this chip in you and we can have you processed out within an hour. Go about your life and, you won't ever hear from us again. But not knowing you finna catch a missile because the minute this happens, that's when things really gonna speed up. But it reads, and it says, and the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. But the keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand because the Lord was with him. And that which he did, the Lord made it prosper. So even in this situation, the brothers get grabbed up, the Lord gonna be with us, man. All right. But the good news is all of us ain't going to get grabbed up because there will be a standard that will be lifted too in Babylon. And that's going to get the attention of a lot of people, man. So always keep that in the back of your mind too. This ain't 70 AD. We all ain't finna get roped up and beat down no more, man. The Lord he's going to do something for us. All right. Let's go here. Book of Jeremiah 38 because, when they threw Jeremiah in prison, it goes here to verse 4. It says, therefore the princes said it to the king, we beseech thee, let this man be put to death. For he weakened the hands of the men of war that remained in his city and the hands of all the people in speaking such words unto them. For this man seek not the welfare of this people, but the hurt. Because Jeremiah told him, like, look, the king of Babylon is getting ready to roll on you if you don't repent. Famine, pestilence, okay, your women and children getting slaughtered. Jeremiah warned them of these things, and then they threw him in prison because of the message he had, because they didn't want to hear that. Just like we said, America is going to be destroyed by ICBM nuclear fire. That don't sound good to these devils, man, because in their spirit, they already know that's the possibility. And the way that it's looking with this Iranian tension and the Epstein files coming out on DJ Nero, he's got to make a move now, man. And I believe part of that blackmailing shit is because he's failing to make a move on Iran. The longer he procrastinate, more information gonna come out on him. So either way it go, he's in the middle of a blackmail. This dude got like 4 pending charges against him, maybe 5. Forcing himself on an underage girl, boy, assault, all types of stuff, making somebody forcibly go down on him. These devils are sick, man. And we told y'all these men were sick, but we were the crazy ones. But going down to verses, matter of fact, let's go down to 11. It says, so Abimelech took the man with him and went into the house of the king under the treasury and took thence old cast clouts, old riding rags, and let them down by cords into the dungeon to Jeremiah. And Abimelech, the Ethiopian, said unto Jeremiah, put down these old cast clouts and riding rags under thy armholes under the cords. And Jeremiah did so. So they drew up Jeremiah with cords and took him out of the dungeon, and Jeremiah remained in the court of the prison. Okay, so they locked him up. They locked him up because of the message he had, what he spoke, and he was a man of the Lord. So this wasn't an uncommon fate. Hell, even I think it was Peter and John when they got locked up in prison. And then one case that the angel came and smote him on the thigh and said, rise up and lace up thy garment and thy sandals. And he told him to go back out into the courtyard and Sent him back and he started preaching again, you know? So, yeah, we're going to have some miraculous events that take place. But nonetheless, these FEMA camps are getting ready to put people in these camps at an alarming rate. And I wouldn't doubt if people are already in there. Hell, they came out with information years ago during the time of the Katrina incident. And I think it was another incident slightly after that took place down south, maybe back in 2017, 2018. I don't know if it was something Sandy. I can't recall. It's been a minute. But allegedly, you know, they was putting people on these barges, and the people that went on there, they never saw them again. So I'm a firm believer in people coming up missing, black sites. Hell, in Chicago, they got black sites out there. They will get certain high target individuals out of the county, and then they'll take them to an off-site location, and before you know it, you don't ever hear from them again because there's no information on you in the database. So if you in Esau's custody, then you pretty much know what it is. But this is the book of Jeremiah 39. And I'm going to start at verses 15. And it says, "Now the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah while he was shut up in the court of the prison, saying, Go and speak to Abimelech the Ethiopian. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel. Behold, I will bring my words upon this city for evil and not for good. And they shall be accomplished in that day before thee. But I will deliver thee in that day, says Yahweh, and thou shalt not be given into the hand of the men of whom thou art afraid. It says, For surely I will deliver thee, and thou shalt not fall by the sword, but thy life should be for a prey unto thee, because thou hast put thy trust in me, says Yahweh." You see? So there you go, man. These things, hey, we here. Concentration camps. This devil is coming down with great wrath. Revelation 2:10. "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. For behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." Because once again, you know, the guillotines. Hey, some brothers are going to die in there. Some brothers are going to get delivered from there. But the rest of you people, hell, even you Edomites, man, that protest the dealings of this New World Order, a lot of you going to meet your fate in these they're really called death camps. Hell, even in Under Siege, they went in America Under Siege, they went into it. Death camps, those internment camps. You know, these 15-minute smart cities, it's Palantir. They're building up mass surveillance. This is why these data centers are being put up, so they can survey everybody, man. They got your TikTok posts. Everybody's mad about TikTok now, but TikToks, Instagram, Facebook, if you post anything that these devils deem a threat, they already got you on the list. So, just a matter of time. Let me bring out one more precept, and that'll be it. Let's go to the book of what is it? Is it Romans 14? No, it's not Romans 14. Ephesians, no. Colossians. No, Acts. It's Acts. Acts 14, and I'm going to start at verses 21, 22. And it says, "Confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith." Okay, you know, brothers, don't get discouraged. Don't get afraid. Just stay locked in, all right? And let Yahweh Shai work in our favor. It says, "And that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of the Most High." So it ain't going to be no cakewalk, man. All right, we all going to be tried. We all going to be put to the test. And those of us that prevailed, and hey, you know, Yahweh Shai, they have a crown of righteousness laid up for us. But those men that was settled on their lees and didn't speak on these things, and you know, they didn't speak on the prophecies and called us conspiracy nuts and sought to change the doctrine, you will not be defended in that day. So with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you are edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.